be honest, largely in my situation, it was more, I was behaving in a different way to who I really was just because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to appear like I was fitting in and robbing myself of who I was in terms of my projection, in terms of, how I could be, in terms of what I could offer. And part of trying to fit in sometimes is that you shrink because you feel like you don't want to be very, should I say overt, and you don't want to seem very out there. So that in my situation was a lot of what I was doing. And I would say my feedback, a lot of feedback I received was more, we have seen you do these things, do very strong things in a number of scenarios. Why is it that in some situations you're now shrinking? Because we know that you can do it. So largely that was my feedback. But I do have an example of a time where I worked for a manager that because he knew I was gunning for promotion at the time, I feel like he was beginning to exploit it and wanted me to start to kind of like accept a few things that were not normal practice. So say for example, I wanted to go on holiday. Everybody knows how important December is to me. Like going to Nigeria is like the eighth time of my year. And I wanted to go to Nigeria. In fact, I had already booked my flight for 3. I hadn't taken my holidays. I had like 3 solid weeks to go and just enjoy myself in Nigeria. And it came to November. By November, I had 3 weeks off the backlog of the fact that we were so busy on this project for 7 months and I hadn't had time to go on holiday. My manager had gone away for about 2 weeks in that period. And I said to myself, okay, I need to ask this guy because we're not allowed to claim back holidays. Let me go and ask him and see when I can go. And he says, I'll get back to you. Like I would chase and chase and chase and he would always come back and I'll get back to you, I'll let you know. I had email, audit trail that showed that conversation. And to cap it all up, I didn't get very good feedback from that project. So he'd given me, before this scenario, he'd given me a lot of very strong feedback about how I'd taken leadership and how, I really swam on this project and all of that. And it was amazing. But this third piece of feedback I received from him, this was, outside of those other occasions, was after we had this fight, because I realized, what, I can't just keep quiet just because I know that I kind of need to, should I say, succumb to the fact that I need to get a promotion and he's my strong advocate here. I had to speak for myself. I was entitled to those holidays. I needed to go and I needed to make something happen because people cannot be victims of things like this bullying in a very, very subtle way. So I said to myself, I'm going to be very vocal about what's going on. I told him, I'm going on holiday. I'm eligible for these holidays. And I showed the audit trail of all of the email communication that we had, showed it to all the people that were involved, showed it to anyone that cared to know, irrespective of the feedback he gave me, because the feedback he gave me was now more like, Temi should learn what you need to do as a consultant, in some cases, how you need to kind of react to people in terms of what you say. And I said, no, that was not what happened. And I had all the evidence to prove it. And I feel like making sure that you do not change yourself in every situation is key. Because that's the only way that, like you said, that's the only way your personal brand, that's the only way you can be eminent. But eminent, that's the only way that you can really show who you are. Because by the time you start shrinking or start keeping quiet about things that are very important to you, how then do people see you and what you're made of? How then can you really add your own personal contribution? If that makes sense. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, Casey, please, 30 seconds.
Yeah, so thank you everybody. Just a very quick question.